Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at a shift in the automotive world that seems pretty small on the surface.
I'm very small.
Literally a truck driving around a city. But if you scratch that surface, you realize it could potentially break a 100-year-old business model.
Yeah, we're talking about the end of the fueling station as a destination we have to drive to.
It feels like a bold claim.
It is a bold claim.
Yeah.
But when you look at the evidence we have today, specifically around this entity called Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions, the writing is kind of on the wall.
Right.
We're moving from, a hardware-heavy fixed infrastructure to something much more fluid.
And before we get into the weeds of this specific company, I just want to frame this for you, the listener. Usually when we talk about EV infrastructure, it's boring.
It is. It's kilowatt hours, permit delays, trenching copper cables.
It's a construction conversation, basically.
Exactly.
But this company, Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions, it just flips that. They're essentially proposing infrastructure as a service.
And that is a massive pivot.
Right.
We're looking at their digital footprint, SacramentoMobileEVCharging.com, and what they offer isn't just a charge, it's a completely different way of thinking about energy logistics.
Which is so necessary because the current model has some pretty glaring holes.
Everyone talks about range anxiety, but I think that's a bit of a dated term now. The real issue is infrastructure reliability.
Okay, let's talk about that reliability piece because the surface level value here it's obvious, right? Roadside assistance.
Yeah.
You run out of juice, your car's a brick on the side of the freeway, you call these guys. It's the AAA model, but for electrons.
That's the break fix scenario for sure. And it's vital. If you look at the Sacramento region specifically, you've got high heat, heavy commute traffic.
Right. The AC is blasting.
And batteries deplete faster.
Yeah.
So having a mobile rescue unit is that safety net that lets people actually trust their cars.
It's the psychological insurance policy. But I want to push back a little on the idea that this is just a tow truck alternative. Because if that's all it is, it's a pretty niche business. The analogy I've been kind of mulling over is cloud computing.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Bear with me. 20 years ago, if a company wanted to run software, they bought servers, they built a room, they cooled it, hired people to watch blinking lights.
On-premise infrastructure.
That's it. And that's what a gas station or a fixed EV charger is. You build it and it just sits there.
And it is so expensive. The capital expenditure, the CapEx is just huge.
Exactly. But then Amazon Web Services comes along and says, hey, don't build servers, just rent our capacity when you need it. That's the cloud. Isn't mobile EV charging basically the cloud version of fueling? You don't build the station, you just summon the capacity.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. And it highlights the core efficiency here. I mean, think about a fixed charging station. How often is it empty?
Most of the day. Unless it's at a Costco on a Saturday.
Right. But you have this incredibly expensive asset. A DC fast charger can cost, what, $50,000 to $150,000 to install?
And that's before utility upgrades.
Oh, yeah. And it's just sitting there depreciating, waiting for a car. Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions inverts that model completely. The asset, the charger, it moves to where the demand actually is.
The utilization rate must go through the roof.
Or it has to.
So let's apply this cloud logic to a real-world scenario. I mean, one that this company seems tailored for. We saw the word solutions in their name, plural. That usually implies B2B, right? Business to business.
It almost certainly does. The consumer market's fine, but the real money and the real systemic change is in commercial slates.
Okay, so walk me through the economics. Say I run a delivery service in Sacramento. I've got 20 electric vans. Why would I pay a premium to have a truck come charge them? Why not just install plugs at my own warehouse?
Have you ever tried to get a permit to upgrade a transformer in California?
I have not, but I hear it's not a weekend project.
It can take 18 months, sometimes 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's if the grid capacity is even there to begin with. So you're a business owner. You bought the vans to save on fuel or meet a state mandate, but you literally can't plug them in fast enough to keep them on the road.
So you're stuck with stranded assets, vans that can't move.
Precisely. Enter Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions. They can come to your depot at 2 in the morning. They go down the line, topping off every single van.
And you didn't have to dig a trench. You didn't fight the utility company.
You didn't spend $200,000 on infrastructure up front. You just pay a monthly service fee.
So it shifts the cost from CapEx to OpEx, from a capital expense to an operating expense.
Exactly. And for a business, that is huge. It makes the barrier to entry for switching to electric almost zero. You don't need a charging strategy anymore.
You just need a phone number.
Just say phone number.
But I have to play devil's advocate here on the physics of it. We're talking about a truck, I assume a diesel truck, or maybe a big electric one, hauling a massive battery around the city to charge other batteries. Is that actually efficient?
That's the valid criticism, yeah.
It feels like we're adding a very heavy middleman to the grid.
It does. And in a perfect world, sure, every parking spot has a plug. But we don't live in a perfect world. We live in a constrained one. The efficiency here isn't necessarily in the energy transfer itself. You do lose some efficiency moving electrons from battery A to battery B.
Okay.
The real efficiency is in grid management.
Break that down for me. How does a truck help the grid?
Okay, think about the Sacramento context again. Hot summer day. Everyone gets home around 5:30 p.m. They crank the AC and they plug in their car.
That's peak load. That is when the grid starts to scream.
Brownout city.
Right.
Right. But a mobile charging solution operates completely differently. That mobile unit, it can charge its own internal batteries at, say, 3 in the morning when power is cheap and abundant.
Ah, okay.
It stores that energy. Then it deploys it during the day or the evening.
Yeah.
It's effectively acting as a buffer for the grid.
Oh, that's fascinating. So they're energy arbitrageurs. They buy low at night, store it in the truck, and then sell high, or at least deliver when demand is there, without putting any instant stress on the local grid.
That's it. It decouples the charging event from the grid demand. When I plug my car into that mobile truck, I'm not pulling from the grid at that moment. I'm pulling from energy that was harvested hours ago. That's a massive stability feature for a city like Sacramento.
It really makes sense why the name Sacramento is so prominent then. This isn't just generic mobile charging. It's a localized solution for a specific grid environment.
Geography is destiny in the energy world, and Sacramento is a hub. You have government fleets, commuters from the Bay Area, you have that intense summer heat. A solution designed for that market has to be robust.
I want to go back to that word solution, specifically the S on the end. We've talked fleets, we've talked emergency rescue. What else does this enable?
I think events and temporary usage, the whole pop-up economy. Let's say you're hosting a music festival at Discovery Park. You want to advertise that you're green-friendly.
But you're in the middle of a grass field. There are no plugs.
Right. You're not going to pour concrete for chargers that will be used for 3 days. So you hire Sacramento Mobile EV Charging.com. They park 3 trucks in the VIP lot. Boom.
You have a temporary supercharger station.
A station that vanishes on Monday morning.
It really reinforces that infrastructure as a service concept. You scale up when you need it, scale down when you don't.
And it also addresses the garage orphan problem.
The what now?
Garage orphans. It's a term for people who live in apartments or condos where they can't install a home charger.
Ah, right. That's a huge percentage of the population in any city.
A huge percentage.
Yeah.
They want an EV, but they literally have nowhere to plug it in overnight.
Yeah.
So currently, those people have to go sit in a public charger for 45 minutes.
Like they're at a laundromat for their car. It's a terrible user experience.
Awful. But with a mobile solution, you could just subscribe, you park on the street, you go to sleep, and the solution comes by, finds your car, tops it up, and moves on to the next one.
That changes the ownership model entirely. You never visit a station. The energy just appears. It's almost like magic.
It's the Uberification of the gas station, right? We stopped hailing taxis on corners. We started summoning them with an app. Now we're stopping the hunt for chargers.
We're starting to summon the fuel.
Exactly.
This brings me to the website itself, Sacramento Mobile EV Charging.com. It's the gateway. In the old world, the gateway was a physical sign on a highway exit. Now it's a URL. It feels like we're watching the digitization of a physical commodity.
We are. And notice the branding. It's so functional. It's not trying to be a lifestyle brand like Tesla or Rivian.
No, but it's not.
It's Sacramento Mobile EV Charging Solutions. It sounds like a utility. And I think that's a good thing.
Why is that a good thing?
Because infrastructure should be boring. It should just work. You don't want a cool plumber. You want a plumber who fixes the leak. You don't want a cool charging solution. You want one that guarantees you never get stranded.
The straightforwardness of the name suggests reliability.
It implies they're focused on the logistics, not the hype. And for you, the listener, this is the key takeaway. We're moving past the early adopter phase where people put up with inconveniences because the car is cool.
Right.
We are now entering the mass adoption phase. And the mass market does not tolerate inconvenience.
They will not plan their life around finding a working charger.
They absolutely won't. If the infrastructure doesn't come to them, they won't switch. Companies like this one are the bridge that makes mass adoption possible. They fill in all the cracks that the fixed infrastructure leaves behind.
So if we project this forward, say 5, 10 years down the road, If mobile solutions become efficient enough, maybe autonomous robots instead of people in trucks, does the gas station model just die?
I think the corner station model is endangered, absolutely. Think about real estate values in cities. A gas station takes up a prime corner lot. It's an environmental hazard. It's ugly.
And the land itself is worth a fortune.
So if you can decouple refueling from that specific location, if it can happen in your driveway, at your office, at the grocery store via these mobile units, why would we keep those stations?
You could reclaim all that land for housing, parks, shops.
It creates a more human-centric city. Cars get charged in the background of our lives, rather than us interrupting our life to go feed the car.
That's a profound shift. It's moving from refueling as an event to refueling as a background process.
And that is what Sacramento Mobile EV Charging.com is really selling. They aren't selling electricity. They're selling the ability to forget about refueling.
Which is funny because to do that, they have to do some incredibly complex logistics in the background.
Complexity for them, simplicity for you. That's the definition of any good service.
Let's touch on the tech limitations, though, because I don't want to paint this as a perfect utopia. What are the bottlenecks? Is it charging speed?
Speed is a factor, yeah.
Yeah.
A mobile unit is using DC fast charging tech, but it's limited by the cable, heat management. It's not going to be as fast as the fastest fixed supercharger.
So you're not getting 0 to 80% in 15 minutes.
Probably not. It's more likely a top-up service. Here's 50 miles of range to get you through the rest of the day. But again, if the service comes to you while you're working or sleeping, speed matters so much less.
That's a great point. Wait time is 0 if you aren't the one waiting.
Right. The other bottleneck is just the capacity of the truck itself. If the truck has a 200 kilowatt battery on board, it can only charge maybe 3 or 4 cars before it needs to go recharge itself.
So the recharge loop for the truck is the constraint. They need their own base station.
Exactly. So the logistics puzzle becomes, how many trucks do you need? Where do they stage them? How do you route them so they don't spend all their energy just driving to the customer?
It's a classic traveling salesman problem, but with very heavy batteries.
It is, and this is where the data comes in. I have to assume a company like this isn't just reacting to phone calls. They must be predicting demand.
Oh, eventually, for sure.
If they integrate with fleet software, they'll know a van is running low before the driver does. They could dispatch the truck automatically. That's the future preventative charging.
That's wild. The truck just shows up before you even know you have a problem.
That is the ultimate goal of solutions in this context. Complete invisibility of the problem.
So we've got a company in Sacramento that's proving out a model that could dismantle the gas station, solve grid storage problems, and save commercial fleets millions in construction costs. Not bad for a website that looks like a simple service portal.
It's a reminder to look at the boring innovations. Everyone watches the sleek new car launches. But the real revolution is happening in the logistics layer, in the white vans that make the whole system actually work.
So for our listener, the learner, who might not live in Sacramento, why should they care about this specific local business?
Because it's a preview. Sacramento is often a bellwether for EV trends in the U.S. If this business model works there, if the economics of OpEx over CapEx hold up, you're going to see this in Austin, in Miami, in London.
You're seeing the blueprint for the next phase of the energy grid.
Correct. And you should start looking at your own city differently. Look at those gas stations on the corners and just ask yourself, is that a permanent fixture or is that a relic waiting to be replaced by a service?
It's a bit like looking at a Blockbuster video in 2004. It's still there, people are still using it, but you can see the Netflix mail-order discs starting to circulate.
That is the perfect analogy. Fixed chargers are Blockbuster. Mobile charging. Well, that might just be the streaming service starting to buffer.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought that builds on that. We mentioned autonomous cars briefly. What happens when we have self-driving cars and we have mobile charging robots?
The infinite loop scenario.
Seriously, do we ever need to stop moving? Imagine a future highway lane that's just for charging. You merge into it, a mobile unit links up with you while you're doing 60 miles an hour, transfers power, and then peels off.
Aerial refueling for cars.
Yeah.
The tech exists. Conceptually, it would require massive coordination.
Yes.
If you remove the need to stop for energy, you fundamentally change the geometry of travel. Cities could be further apart. The idea of a commute changes. The concept of range disappears entirely because the road itself keeps you alive.
And it all starts with a truck in Sacramento showing up to save a dead battery.
It all starts with decoupling the plug from the wall. Once you do that, anything becomes possible.
Well, there you have it. From a simple URL, sacramentomobileevecharging.com/am, to potentially reshaping our cities and our grid,
Yeah.
it's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about moving the light to where it's needed most.
Couldn't have said it better. It's an exciting time to be watching the wires.
Hey.
Or maybe the lack thereof.
Thanks for diving in with us. Keep your eyes on the road, and maybe, just maybe, the road will start taking care of you. We'll see you on the next deep dive.